and on critical policy and strategic direction for optimizing the use of women's data. Evidence-based education sector planning, management, and accountability, and ultimately enhancing the quality and equity of education provision. Formulation of a national education policy on women's.
So, good morning, this is LNTV coming to you live from the Golden Key Hotel, and this is a session workshop for 7 members from the African Union who have come to Liberia to make a research on education policy through data and a national policy dialogue initiative. So the conference is full of Minister of Education, Assistant Minister Paco, and the members from Nigeria and other African Union countries here. So welcome to this broadcast as we bring you the full coverage.
These gaps are well identified, and we develop a realistic national English action plan, which we'll talk about here also. And of course, to strengthen national ownership and alignment with the KIS, the case laws and traditions, standards. This is knowledge innovation exchange. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to say good morning, and we hope that these objectives get achieved as we start the process of the formulation of policy activities. Because this exercise is part of our roadmap. It's a critical activity formulated in the roadmap for the development of image policy for Liberia. And we hope that the AU will continue to provide us the support. Jaja and his team will need a technical support to help us develop, make sure that before this year ends, we have the national policy, the English policy for Liberia. Thank you very much.
Let's give a round of applause for our African. Let's show before the year comes to an end, we have our image policy. That was the voice of our IT director. We say thank you for the objectives of this activity. At this time, we would like to invite for a special remarks to the podium, XRX Africa COP19 for special remarks. A round of applause, please.
Good morning, everyone. Excellency, Dr. Jamso Dala, Minister of Education, Principal of the Ministry of Education, Honorable Delegate, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor for me to stand before you today and convey the warmest greeting from the leadership of the African Union Commission, particularly from His Excellency Professor Gaspar Gayam Kikuna, the newly elected African Union Commissioner for Education, Science, Technology and Innovation. And I hope that under his leadership, the collaboration between the African Union and the Ministry of Education, Liberia, will improve. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to you, Your Excellency, and to the government and both the people of Liberia for hosting us today. I'd like also to thank, with your permission, Excellency, the Honorable Assistant Minister Parker and his team for their efforts in preparing for this big meeting, which set the stage for the success of the Liberia National EMIS Police Dialogue. This dialogue marks a key milestone, providing an invaluable opportunity to assess progress, identify ongoing challenges, and celebrate shared achievements. Building on the momentum of this dialogue, notable accomplishments have been made possible through close collaboration with key partners, mainly GTA, IDRC, and the members of KICS Construction. We have UNICEF and UNESCO ICRA. The valuable contribution and commitment to this process lay the groundwork for achieving the next level of EMIS development goals as outlined in the policy AU Agenda 2063, SDG 4, and the new CESA. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the development of EMIS is hindered by the current scarcity of data in Africa, which complicates the comparability, the evaluation of education system, and international commitment. The production of quality statistics that are comparable across time and space is further complicated by several factors, including limited statistical capacity, inactivity, institutional and regulatory framework for statistical production, and insufficient resource allocated to statistics. This issue are often result in other institutions that not sufficiently taking into account African reality. To facilitate self-assessment and enhance comprehension of the education system dynamics and the genuine impact of strategic framework, the shift in perspective is imperative. As we need to reinforce what has agreed upon during the EMIS peer review, we must continue to advocate for and mobilize interest, technical and financial support for the EMIS development of Liberia through our principles. Liberia and its partners offer opportunity for the development of EMIS. I encourage you to work collaboratively and in synergy to ensure that strategic investment in critical areas as well as strong policy for resilient EMIS are made. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, I would like also to recognize the contribution of the African Union Commission represented by my office, the EU IPED, the key member of KICS African Team Consortium. Secondly, I would like to make a dynamic appeal to Liberia to implement the decision of the head of state and government on the allocation of 0.19% of national budgets to the statistical activities. By the way, in some countries they used to take 1% of the budget of the Ministry of Education for EMIS. But what I'm asking here through this key recommendation is the recommendation of head of state is to use 0.15 of overall the budget for statistics. Statistically, we have also the National Bureau of Statistics and other departments that are working for statistics. We have noticed that there are still challenges in the EMIS process, but with ongoing collaboration, both the African Union and Liberia can benefit from this significant partnership. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, let us reaffirm our commitment to a strong and effective partnership through the KIDS project. I'm confident that our discussion will be constructive and that this meeting will be a sounding success. Thank you.
So he's from Gambia. So he's from Gambia and he just make his remark. And this is the information management of education system for data challenge to strengthen education system through knowledge exchange in African countries. So these 7 men have come to Liberia to make a research on advancements in education in Liberia, and the delegates are from Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Gambia, Kenya. They came since Saturday for this activity, and today is a dialogue meeting here at the Golden Key Hotel.
Okay, can I allow me to stand on assistant protocol to say all protocol concern? As you rightfully heard, my name is Emmanuel G. Delegates, and I am the officer in charge of INIS. I will.
So, at this time, Mr. has to attend to another engagement, so we'll ask us to please stand one of the platform guests gives. Thank you.
So the Minister of Education, Dr. Chaso Chala, is leaving for some major activity, but she was here and she's supposed to make a statement on this program.
Okay, so
but now the program will continue while she goes for another activity.
On the achievements, challenges, and opportunities for INIS. So, as we already know, that INIS in our educational system, it helps us to make informed decisions. So, decision in terms of planning, monitoring, and that of evaluation. So, the role of INIS in the educational sector cannot be overly emphasized. So, today I will be driving you through the achievements of INIS, our challenges and opportunities that we perceive out there. Next, please. So for the achievement of INIS, we have had a couple of achievements, and I will go through them briefly. So one is the successful rollout of the 2024-2025 annual school season. As we may already be aware, we have not had annual school season since 2022. So we had 3 years of data gap, and we were able to roll out the annual school season for 2024-2025. And the draft report is currently available on the Ministry of Education website. So if you go on the website, you go to bulletin programs. You go to programs and then you go to bulletin. Under there, you take your time, you will be able to see the draft report for 2024-2025. So the INIS ASC is a kind of cycler or rotational processes that we go through before going in the field to collect our data. So I will just give you a brief walkthrough in terms of how the entire data collection is done. So at INES, we do have a TWG, that is a technical working group. And that technical working group comprises latest key development partners, international development partners, local development partners, ministry staff, and other interest groups as well. So in that TWG, we formulate and guide the entire ASC rollout. And then after that, we go through what we call our image tools development. So after the tools have been developed, that is the questionnaire that are required to capture data from the feed, statistical data. So that tools is developed and we go ahead to validate the tools. Thereafter, we move on to what we call our TOT. That is the training of trainers. However, this year image activities was quite different. So because we are trying to move to school-based data collection, that is, we are envisioning a time where schools themselves will be able to collect data. Instead of we going to collect the data, they themselves will collect the data and submit it to us. And that also leads to the image counting hub development. So we train school principals and administrators who are particularly responsible for data collection within or school records within their schools. We also train the county district education officers. We train the county education officers, including the NAE and the planning officers, because they are functionaries that assist the school or manage the day-to-day activities of the school. So they too have to be knowledgeable of the image tools. So we go ahead and do that, and then afterward we move in to deploy the tools and do a subsequent data collection. So in the past, data collection has heavily been relying on paper-based. But for now, we have limited that to other images. So in image, what we do is we use the ODA, that is the COVID data kit. So we have a form, and that form is digital. We develop the form and then deploy it on tablets. So in image, we have excess of 900 plus tablets that we give to school administrators in order to enable them to collect the data. That is our DEOs, our planning and planning officers, and also even staff. So currently they are the ones that collect data for us. So the fourth point there, just talk about the training that I just mentioned. So we do have training image staff both at the county level and that of the district level, even the central office. So we do have training image staff and through local training, and some of them have gone through some of the work sessions that I just mentioned. So we now have data available. Like I said, we have our statistics available right now on the Ministry of Education website. Although that is preliminary, but that data tells a lot of story. So hopefully by October this year, we will be coming up with the full version of the ESASC data. We have also been able to achieve and strengthen teamwork with our development partners. So with the EU, with UNICEF, with the World Bank, and the rest of the development partners. And evidence of that is our recent $2 million grant from the EU, catered towards the school-based record keeping, or what we call the data collection. So we do have a solid and cemented relationship with our partners. So with that, we are hoping that with all of the achievements, all of the development that we have carried on, all of the trainings and these funding that we have managed to source, at the end of the day, we will have an image hub established in each county. So each county will have a data hub where they can collect the data, sync it there, and we can synchronize it with our central system. So these are just some of the achievements that Image has been able to leverage on, that Image has been able to do over the time on review. Yes, please. Okay, so previously I mentioned the Image annual school sensor. So the tools that I mentioned, whether for the validation of the tools, the development of the tools, and that of the rollout of the tools in the county. Right now we have 12 sessions of the tools, and that tools is about 47 pages relatively. That is, if you are just going through the hard copy form, it's 47. But most of us know that that tools expands based on user input. So, section 1 of that tools, it focuses on school profile. So in there, we collect the profile of the school. That is the name of the school, the email score, location, and the rest of the information. In section 2, there is all about enrollment. So in the email schools, in section 2, we ask questions about student enrollment. We ask questions about their disaggregate in terms of ages. We ask questions about the grade in which they are enrolled. Section 3 of our tools is about repeater. So we collect all of the data from schools and then come to the central office and we analyze the data in order to present it to policymakers for informed decision making. So we ask questions on repeater and we also go ahead to disaggregate that. We ask questions on curriculum and infrastructure, because we want to know exactly which kind of curriculum our schools are using and what are the level of infrastructure that is in the classroom, the building, the facility, how does it look like? Is it conducive for learning activities? So we ask all the questions and then come to analyze and report on those data. We ask questions on school facility, like I just mentioned, that has to do with whether you have additional facilities like playground, sports page, and the rest of it. So we ask questions on school health. So school health is one of the sections within our tools. And in there, we ask questions to know exactly the hygienic condition of our students and what are some of those facilities that are on campus that cater to our health, whether you have health club to train the students in terms of how to keep the environment safe and the rest of it. And also in here, we talk about HIV and AIDS and other sensitive health-related questions as well. So that has to do with section 8 of our tools. And then in section 9, we talk about school management. So the school management, because the Teacher Parent Association, which is the PTA, they play a very crucial role in the school system. So we also want to know exactly whether you have those infrastructure put into place. So we ask questions on that. And section 10 there talk about school fees. Because we do have a regulation, the government of Liberia Republic of Liberia Education does regulate school fees. So we ask this question to validate exactly against those regulations, to know whether schools are overcharging or they are abiding by the rules and regulations of the Ministry of Education. So we ask questions on school fees. We ask questions on technical and vocational education and training. So in the past, we have not being able to collect standalone TDET data. So we have two kinds of TDET data that we collect. We have the integrated TDET or the formal TDET, that is TDET schools that are integrated with our multilaterals and other schools around. Then we also have our standalone TDETs. So the standalone TDETs, those are TDETs that don't offer regular or normal academic activities. So this annual school system was asking questions about standalone TDET, and that we're going to continue in the future. So finally, we asked questions on teaching staff and their records. Because the issue of teachers is one thing that is extremely crucial. And if I had to share a phone with you, when we were analyzing the data, we saw the number of teachers by head count, 63,000. So 63,000, and then when we decided to do the disaggregate by level, by class, and things like that, we saw 72,000 plus. We were like, but how come you go from 63,000 to 72,000? So that tells you that you will have, few teachers who are teaching multiple levels, and the teacher information is also vital to inform decision makers whether you have adequate teachers in your school and what are the qualifications of those teachers. So we ask questions like that in our annual school system. Next, please. Okay, so some of the achievements that we have had over the years with the assistance of our development partners has to do, one of them has to do with our image dashboard. So with the help of ISA, USA then we were able to get image dashboard, and they developed this dashboard prior to their closing down. So currently, we can tell you that the Education Management Information System, we do have a live dashboard, and that dashboard will be released to the public soon. So we have a dashboard, and this is just a screenshot or snippet of our dashboard. And on the dashboard, you find a whole lot of indicators. So you want to get school information, you want to get government information, teachers information, what, and everything. So instead of you going ahead to get the entire 200-page document, which is our annual school census report, you can just come here and drill down to the dashboard. So we do have our dashboard, and I think that is an achievement for this. Yes. So we do have challenges in the midst of all of these success stories. We do have challenges at this. And some of the challenges may be obvious to all of us, and may be kind of so to speak to like a better word, probably unique to other countries as well. And one of those challenges has to do with staff. So while it's true that we have some trained staff in this, but some counties still have inadequate trained staff. So the need for capacity building at IMES is still a major concern. So IMES has a capacity gap, which we can say that. We also have reporting issue. So as we already know, when it comes to data, it has to do with the timeliness of it. So most of our schools, what they do, or some of them, not most of them, some of them report the data very late. So at the final analysis, they gave us a data gap. They create data gap within the report, because you won't be able to report on all of these schools because you don't have the data. So what may happen is you use some statistical methodology to get on what we call projection. So you have to project based on a valid statistical approach. So we have data gap based on late and low reporting from some of these schools. We have one which probably is the biggest, and that has to do with limited and timely access for funding for image. So like our guest was saying, I think it is a very good idea to allow such 0.1% of the educational sector budget to image. Because other than that, you find out that there are a lot of things that may not be achieved on a timely basis, and that may affect negatively the decision of the sector. Because if you do not have an informed data to guide you through your decision making, you definitely make a decision based on opinion or based on self-reliance, which in oftentimes and the research does not offer well. So in this, we also have a challenge where when we produce the data is not being fully utilized. So at times people don't use the data. They rely on their own judgment, and at the end of the day, things don't go the way in which they should go, because you are not making decisions based on informed information, but rather based on opinion. So those are some of our challenges. Yes, people don't use the data. We have the data has come in and sitting there, and then they will leave it and start to reinvent the wheel, or sometimes rely on self-judgment. We also face the challenge of poor internet connection, especially in some of our, most of our rural schools. So that makes it extremely challenging to have a real-time data coming in, because the platform that we use currently, it collects the data offline. However, before the data is synced on the server, it needs or require internet connection. And because you don't have internet connection in the remote places, it takes days, sometimes weeks, for people to travel from one distance to another in order to get internet access. And we believe that these are challenges that can be mitigated, especially with the presence of advanced technology that is starting in the rest of it. While it's true that we have achieved a lot on this, and we still have outstanding challenges, we still believe that there are opportunities to correct the challenges, and there are opportunities to achieve more in image. So for our opportunities that we are looking at is for us to leverage on technology in order to expand our data collection tools and analysis. So in the past, people take sometimes 6 months, 7 months, 8 months before they produce statistical reports. But with the proliferation of technology nowadays, you don't have to take the longest time. So take for instance the dashboard that you just saw there. When that dashboard is finally launched, as data comes in, automatically you have the analysis being operated by a computer. So we don't have to wait 1 or 2 weeks before we have the data. Probably all we have to be concerned with there will be quality check, which of course we can leverage on technology with human in the loop, which will be very limited to verify and authenticate those data sources before populating them on the server, and in no time you're going to have your statistics in real time. Okay, so we still believe that while it's true that we have cemented our relationship with our partners, we still believe that there are still rooms to do more. And with the presence of kids in Liberia, we believe that there is a lot of opportunity for us, and we believe that with their presence, we're definitely going to achieve our policy. And if we have a policy on image, if we have a policy on our system, that policy will also be able to lead to something positive as well. So we believe that there are still opportunities to leverage on with our partners. So there are several opportunities like this. Like we have our colleague here from Legis. We were just discussing it, that is linking our system with Legis system in order to have a one-stop shop for data. That does not necessarily mean that the image infrastructure will not be utilized, but just in case somebody wants data, they can just stop there and then have it, and that alone will bring on board better and more collaboration within the system. So, and this will be one of our biggest achievements. That is the erection or development of image hub across the 16 educational counties that we have in Liberia. And that is not far from reality because, like I said, we have already secured funding from that is over $2 million. So we have that, and we believe that is an opportunity that we can leverage on and turn that into success or achievement for IMIS. Right, in conclusion, I want to thank you all for coming to this all-important dialogue, and especially for our MAE officers who travel distances to come. I know some of our roads are extremely terrible at this point, and we also have good roads, terrible areas as well, based on the intervention of our public ministry. So we want to say welcome, and I hope that we all going to have a very fruitful discussion. We're going to take our input, give all of what we know from the counties, because we rely on you and we depend on you to actually give us what you know and what is going to work best for all of us. On that note, I want to thank you, Honorable Minister, and the platform, yes. Thank you for listening.
So, as starting us, this is the LNTV. We're coming to you live from the Golden Keys Hotel, and where the Ministry of Education is holding a one-day dialogue from delegates that have come from the African Union to follow up on data challenges in Liberia and the Education Management Information System have been shown to you from the projector, and there were a lot of information given from that includes achievements, challenges, and opportunity in the educational system of Liberia. So if you are just watching us, that is LNTV, and the 7-man delegation are from Kenya, Sierra Leone, Gambia, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, who have come to make this research on Liberia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for making our time to join this this session. But before I start, I feel very proud to be an African this morning. And I also feel very proud to be a West African as well. I work for the African Union, but it doesn't reduce, it doesn't dilute my source. I'm a Nigerian. And I would like to request that we give ourselves a big round of applause for this exercise. We met a lot of people to arrive at this point. We met different stakeholders and different experts. He was very honest, but I'm sure it wasn't a very simple exercise. It requires a lot of honesty. It requires a lot of being brutal about. Please, can we have one house, please? Can we have one house? One house, one house, one house. Sorry, this is the building now. This is the Nigerian thing. So, I would really like to appreciate your support because there is no way we would have done this without you. This exercise is not an exercise of consultants sitting in their country in America or in Europe writing something about Liberia. We came here to the ground to talk to you, to understand where the issues are. You know, we say in my country, it's only the man who wears the shoes that knows where to hurt. So we came to listen to you to hear where the shoes actually hurt. I will just walk you through some part of the report. The report is ready actually. We'll just do some kind of clearance with the Honorable Minister before we're able to share it with you, because you deserve to read it also. For everyone that participated in the process, and even those that didn't participate also deserve to read the report. So, sorry, need the book. Yeah. So the report just follows the standard flow of any peer review. I'm not going to go into too much of the details. But of course, just to recap the presentation that was given by Gambia, Sierra Leone, and Nigeria, we listened to them. They spoke about the fact that their own LIB systems have been digitized, as far as 10 years ago. And of course, they use DHIS and all that. Sierra Leone also talked about the same thing. They use sorry, let me increase so that it's legible. Yeah. So Sierra Leone also talked about the same thing. They spoke about the existence of an LIB policy, which is an area that Liberia is going to work. They talked about the challenges, of course, of ICT infrastructure and all that. The Gambia also spoke about similar things. But then for our technical review, we met different offices. We met the LOE staff from partners, we met the chief statistician, ICT unit, teacher service directorates, curriculum and primary directors, YF, the financial controller, the regional managers as well. We also met UNESCO, who's represented development partner. And one thing is common. It's very easy for us to come here and say what is not good, what is bad. But there are still things, they say every cloud has a silver lining, right? There are still things that we saw that were really impressive, which of course started with the level of political commitment to see this to the end. It's very, very impressive. It's something that we don't, normally see in those of the countries that we visit. So this is one very, very important point. So our findings, oh my God, English is so hard. Our findings are structured under the following headings: the policy, the money, I don't want to call it resources, I just say money. The money, the process of statistics, the information and reporting, and how we have structured the guidance. And this is what my presentation will be focusing on today. The first one is that we know there is a commitment, but we know also that a policy does not exist at the moment. So one of the things that we have to make sure happens in the next 6 months is that a policy has to be in place that will guide the management of not just IBIS, but data production and its usage as a whole. So that policy has to be in place, which means we might still come back here. Whether we are able to travel down or we join you online, we just need to know that a policy workshop, a policy development workshop on IBIS has to be convened. honorable minister is not here. We need to find the money for that to happen as soon as possible. The minister is back. The money has to come quickly. Honorable minister was just mentioning that one of the first things that needs to happen as a low-hanging fruit, a very important one at that, is that we need to convene a national earnings policy development workshop with all of these stakeholders and beyond here. So we need to work with you to find the money to do that. The second thing is that your private schools are excluded a lot. Private schools are excluded a lot in so many things. And we believe that even the policy can handle this. The policy provision on how the ministry engages private schools, has to be made available. Because it's the only way, because one of the things that we're being told that we don't even know how many teachers are in private school. We don't know how many are in public school. So a policy provision that spells out how the ministry must engage the private school, has to be in place. And then energy integration. It needs to be integrated into the sector plan. I mean, this is a very obvious thing. And then there must be collaboration with your National Bureau of Statistics. That collaboration is 100% needed. So we need to find out how that will happen. I'm sure the team from Legis are also here, and they will also speak to this. And then the other issue we spoke about, resources. Like our colleague, our director mentioned, the data collection stalled. Infrastructure is also weak. A lot of people that we interview don't even have laptops. So this has to be fixed. We have to make sure between now and August next year, everyone is smiling with their computers, with their laptops. The ministry has provided it. We work, with the ministry to ensure that this happens. Staff capacity. The issue of staff capacity is also very critical. I think, by a show of hands, when was the last time anyone went on training? When was the last time anybody went on training here? So, it's only international. Even local trade is not. It's not local. Okay, that is training happens then. Okay? So, it still needs to be enhanced. We need to ensure that skilling and reskilling, technology age is like a clock, it doesn't wait for anyone. So everybody needs to be skilled and reskilled, at least once a year. Electricity and internet is also targeted, but it's a very easy fix as long as you monitor it. You can provide solar, to power either the schools or to power the platforms or the infrastructure of the ministry. And then here we have the statistical processes, which our AD's director has just alluded to, data collection tools. This is ODK, but validation and post-collection checks, are an area that are critical. If the skill is not there within the team now, the minister and the leadership has to ensure that either the staff is trained or the experts are brought in to join into the team to support the work of the director here. Of course, we see that there is no integration at all with your learning assessment institution, which is why where the officer from my mentioned to us that once the assessment data is done, they just send it by Excel over email, which is prone to a lot of problems which I don't want to go into now. So that integration needs to happen as well. Unique learner IDs, which means every child must have a unique number. Different countries have implemented it differently, but this particular subject needs a whole new workshop. It's a completely different animal because some countries rely on their Ministry of Interior when the child is born. The number that is assigned on the birth certificate of the child is the same number the child will carry from anywhere to the bank, to the school, up to the university level. There is a way it's done like that. Other countries rely on creating different unique IDs when the child is in primary up until the child graduates. That number. So there's so many angles to it. But this requires a multi-stakeholder engagement in Liberia. There is a telecommunications company, there is the Legis, there is the Ministry of Education, there are so many people who do IT here. Banks, these also issue account numbers. the country then needs to dialogue to find a way of how to achieve this. But like I said, it's also an area that we need to work on. Covering the tertiary and informal, there is so much that is missing, as gaps within the LIB system. Tertiary is not very covered. Out of school, informal education is partial. Informal is partial. It's not completely off, but it's partial. So this also needs to be improved. We put indicators around gender, equity issues, equality issues also needs to be collected, but it's not very comprehensive. The information processing, reporting is delayed, it's delayed, but these are some of the things the policy can fix. You see why the policy is the first thing that should come. Once the policy is there, then everyone knows what their roles are. Every private school, every school head understands what the roles and responsibilities are. And then the every center does not align with UIS or SDG reporting timelines. This one it's not necessarily a problem for us. As long as we are here first to solve the problems of Liberia, not the problems of international people. It's okay if it aligns. We want it to align, but first, the data has to be used for the benefit, of Liberia, not necessarily for the benefit of any other person. Dissemination is a little bit weak, which means we need to work with the communications unit or the communications team to determine the communication channels and dissemination channels for when data is done. And not right now, you use the website to disseminate whatever information that you have. But right now, it needs to be expanded. You need to have even how the partner confraternity in Liberia, how to engage this data. And then schools and local managers are not adequately engaged in data use. One of the things we speak about a lot is data collection, but not necessarily people don't talk about data use. We need to use it, for the benefit of Liberia. It needs to inform something. It needs to inform policy. Another thing is that the ministry, which I haven't captured here properly, is that the people who produce data must also receive the result of the data. It's like when you take corn to the mill, you wait to get. You don't just leave the corn there. They bring back flour to you. So the schools also need to receive the data back, to know how they are faring, to say, okay, this is what has happened here. We are not doing well here. We are doing well here. So they also need to get back the analyzed results so that they can consume it. I'm not want to focus on challenges a lot. Of course, I think I've alluded to some of them. Policy and legal framework, I've spoken to resources and statistical projects and all that. This is what our intervention flow for the next 3 years will look like on the screen, and I think I've also spoken about this. There's an action plan. Please don't look at the dollars that you're seeing here. It looks like a lot, but it's not a lot of money. So we are saying now that your MEs need about $4.5 million within the next 3 years to cover everybody, provide infrastructure for people, provide tools for people, train people, recruit more people if needed. This is what you need, and we're handing it over to you. This is the plan. But if you had followed our radio conversation this morning, we mentioned that 60% of it hopefully will be provided by government and the rest from source of partners. And the reason is that we want this process to be owned by Liberia. We don't want it to be reliant on some partner. We don't want to say, we want the ownership. In Nigeria, when we have things like this, the government is eager to take the money there. Because the government wants to say that it's our own, we did it, we're the one that paid for it. So it's a kind of national pride as well. So we are saying that this perhaps is something that will be useful. So colleagues, this is what the budget looks like. You see, there's a whole ICT infrastructure budget which is taking a lot of the money. After a lot of the money will be going into infrastructure and ICT. There's training as well, there's dashboard and all of those things. So ladies and gentlemen, this is a very condensed report of what we did in the last 2 days. I hope it is not failed you. And we hope to continue to engage with you aside from. Thank you very much.
So thank you, and he's from Nigeria. here taking part in this dialogue from the African Union to Liberia.
We are getting already. Perhaps we are getting there. At this time, the next item on our agenda is the role of the Bank of Planning, Monitoring, Evaluation in support of IMES. That aspect will be done by our Director Adana Hussein, Director of the Do not repeat Director.
So, the role of Education Management Information System in supporting planning ME will be done by the Director for Planning in ME.
All right. Good morning again to you all. The high table, ministers, and our colleagues from TPEX, welcome to Liberia. To our LA staffers, welcome. Thank you. I'm very happy to have you. I'm more happy than anybody else to see you. In the counties, welcome in town. We'll make sure you be more engaged with us as we go, and thank you to the leadership of Mr. Clacker. I've been given a task. The topic was the role of IMES in planning and management, but I put it in a better context. I said the role of education data and indicators in education planning and management. All right? Short notice, a lot of notes, but I will flow through it easily. I hope you get the point that I want to present. So we hope at the end of the presentation you should be able to understand what is strategic planning, because before we discuss the role of data and indicators in planning and management, we will understand what we call planning, strategic planning. Then the type of education plans within the education sector. We need to understand what are the different type of plans that we discuss, both globally, national, and at decentralized level. Also, we'll just give like 1 or 2 slides on what's the purpose of monitoring and evaluation, because when you plan, you also do what? You monitor and evaluate. And then we'll bring in the topic of the day, which is what's the role of education data and indicators in education planning and management, and what's the role of IMES and other sources in generating education data and indicators. So there's a flow of information, all right? So we'll start quickly with what is strategic planning. Next slide. So when you hear about strategic planning in education, there are different strategic planning. But strategic planning in education is the process of setting long-term goals, deciding on actions to achieve these goals, and mobilizing the resources needed to put them into action. So you see 3 key words, right? When you are strategically planning, you gotta set your long-term goals, you gotta decide on the actions that will lead to the achievement of goals, and then definitely we gotta mobilize the resources to make them achievable. So it is a comprehensive and systematic approach that helps education institutions define their vision, align their resources, and adapt to a constant changing environment. So we are strategically planning in education. There's always a change that happens. No matter how you put the resources, there will always be variables coming up, challenges coming up, so you do your strategic planning. Next slide. So what are the main topics of strategic planning, right? A robust strategic plan involves several key elements to ensure that stakeholders are aligned and working together. So when you are also strategically planning, you don't plan on your own. You also have to ensure that stakeholders are with you and they are aligned to your vision and they are moving in the same direction. So the first thing we do in strategic planning is to define our purpose. What's the purpose of our vision? What do we intend to do? We define the mission, the vision statement, and describing the long-term aspirations that we seek to achieve, right? Once we have established what do we stand for and what's our vision, then the next step now is for us to do what we call the SWOT analysis. In education, we call it sector analysis, right? But in strategic planning, it also involves that. So you have to look at your structure, assess your system, see your readiness, your strength, your weakness, your opportunities, and what are some of those challenges. We heard our previous director talking about the strength and weaknesses of the system when it comes to image, right? So you have to look at those dimensions after you have done the mission and vision statement. And when you have analyzed the challenges and your strength and weakness, then automatically you start to move into your strategic plan by setting your what? Your goals. And you see the imperative, you see your SMART goal. You gotta be specific, you gotta be